Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with day 18 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life, series 11. And this fabulous sketch is by Anna with Peacecraft Love. And it has 3 pictures, some mixed media, splotchy business, some little, what I am taking as stamped rings, and I'm going to document these 3 pictures of camping in 2017, the process of putting up the tent. I'm going to use this Recollections summer road trip, and I have the stickers that go with it, as well as these Tim Holtz stamps and 2 different sets. One that came with my alcohol ink collection, I think. And then these are some that I got at Joann Fabrics, I believe. And they've got pretty much exactly what I need for this sketch. So I'm very excited to see how this turns out because I'm kind of winging it. I'm going to use Rustic Wilderness and Spiced Marmalade. And the ground espresso. I'm going to bring in Spiced Marmalade in a few minutes. So I've already picked some papers that I want to work with. I've got some scraps. Thought I might use this wood grain, but I don't end up doing that. But I am excited to use up some scraps. So I've got my papers. I've got some embellishments, stamps, and inks. And I have these pictures. And of course I have this sketch. So let's see how this goes. So the paper I picked was this one because I love the bottom that's got the trees and the tent and everything. So I got to cover this on the road again. And so I decided what I'm going to do is cover it with this brown paper and then map my pictures on a lighter color so that they'll pop off the page better. So I measure the distance from the very lowest point to the very highest point of the wording. It's about 6.5 inches from one point to the other. So I tear this wider than that because I know once I get on there, then I'll be able to tear it more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some double-sided tape that is uber sticky, and I'm going to start putting it in the furthest down and the furthest to the right and left side so that when I go to tear the paper, I'm less likely to pull it too far down to where those words are going to show. Now, a little bit would be no big deal because I can cover that with some, an embellishment or something like that. But for the most part, I want to make sure that I'm going to get all of this wording covered up. So I just put that down, and I left this in just because this was something that I kind of did accidentally once and then realized that it worked pretty well. You still have to go kind of slow when you're tearing because, it'll pull up a little bit. But for the most part, it will help you keep that space covered. So I just have a little trash can on my desk to the top right corner right now, and that's where my arm keeps going. So I'm going to put this down to where I know the bottom is covered. And that way I don't have to do too much tearing from the bottom. And then I'm going to tear around. Now there is a very small little bit right there where my finger is that is seen because I pulled that down too hard. But that's easy to cover because that's where one of the pictures is going to go right there. So I love the way this looks. And in the sketch, it looks like maybe Anna was anticipating mixed media for that swatch or torn paper because it's it's very faint in the background. It's a little easier to see on the sketch that is you can see up in the top left corner. So I took my thumbnail and just kind of roughed this up and pulled off the excess white bits because I wanted that white edge, but I didn't want like a big, really big fat edge. The only reason I kept that one up in the top right corner is because that is where it's tacked down. So I'm going to start with the little circle. It's got like a little like a starting point in there. So I just put that pretty much where she has them on her sketch. For the most part, there's a couple places that I kind of wing it, but for the most part, I'm putting it in the areas where she has them. So, and I use the ground espresso for that. And then I pull out this squished look or stain, whatever you want to call it. And I put that into the Rustic Wilderness. And I love working with this kind of thing because it's distressed looking on purpose. So that if I don't get a smooth, full, clean push down of the stamp, it's no big deal. And that's why I love working with this kind of ink and with these kinds of stamps. The whole point is for it to look distressed. Well, I can professionally make it distressed looking on accident. So I get those down, and then I'm going to get I matted my pictures. All three of them are matted on something different, but they're very similar with an off-white matte, and there's some lines or different things in there, but it's such a thin border. I just wanted it to stand out enough from that dark brown plaid background. So now that I have that down and the pictures are down, I am going to use my embellishments and figure out what I want to use. Now, this is probably the least embellished layout I'm going to create this entire series. I used 2 stickers and a tag and then 3 word phrases. That is all I put on here. So I'm going to cut one of these little cut aparts out. And I choose that orange one because the tint is orange. And I've got a little orange in one of the stickers I want to use. And when I say the tint, I don't mean our tint. I mean the tint on this paper. And since it obviously is the exact same thing because it's from the same collection, I decided I wanted to bring that in because the other pictures that I have for this camping adventure are of the fire and the s'mores and dinner and things like that. And I've already done one layout of us in the cave. So I didn't want to use any of those, the embellishments like the fire and the s'more and things like that, because I'll use those on the other layout, the third layout that'll go with this series. I can't remember. I don't think I used any of this for the first layout, but that's okay. It can be the first page, and then this one and the other one can be the facing page when I get to that point. So what I have going on now is there was a camper on there, which matches the camper on the bottom. Wouldn't have been a big deal to put there, but I wanted that tent, and I thought that that would look good there, so I just covered over the camper, because we didn't take a camper. We drove our car, and we had already been on vacation. Me and my kids had already been on vacation with my mom and dad and my niece, and it was fall break, so we're off for 4 days. And so for Thursday and Friday, I spent the time with my mom and dad and my niece and my kids. And then Friday after work, their dad came and met us. And then Saturday morning, the 4 of us went to Mammoth Cave and camped out and went to the caves and stuff. So this little doodad that I'm using right now, if you all don't have one or something like it, and you use stamps at all, it is I strongly encourage it. It is the Lawn Fawn Chamois, and I love this thing. It is it's full of color because all you have to do is wipe your you get it wet and squeeze it out so that it doesn't like drip every which where. But and then I just wipe my stuff off, and it's amazing. I love it, and it holds all that ink so it's not getting everywhere. So anyway, I grabbed my spice marmalade. I decided to get it in the distress ink and not the oxide because I wanted it to be more of a solid color and not faded out. And so I put that through and so the adventure begins. And honestly, our adventure had already started. We've already been to the caves and gone through like a little museum that's at Mammoth Cave. But I felt like bringing the orange in was good. Now look, see, I just wiped that down and it's perfectly fine. So there, I'm going to show you the thing, but of course it falls over. And it's not very easy to see from this far away. So I decide she has some little banners and stuff on her pictures. And instead of banners, I decided I would use my Tim Holtz Small Talk and selected Collect Beautiful Moments, Live Gently Upon This Earth, and Adventure is Worthwhile. And I just adhere those to the pictures with some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I am not concerned at all about putting it over this tent. You can see the tent. It's just a picture of James putting the little doodaddies in the ground. The stakes, that's the word I'm looking for. Phew, gosh. And then the bottom picture is my son pumping up his air mattress because, yeah, we're kind of bougie, but not super bougie. We ate over a campfire, but we bought our stuff, so we weren't like catching something to eat. And we're old, so we don't. Although when he camps, James usually does like hammock camping or we'll sleep on the ground. But it was the four of us. It was our kids' first time camping, like official camping. So we decided that we would get these inexpensive air mattresses. So here is the sketch again by Anna with Peacecraft Loved. And like I said, it's the least dolled up, but I really, really love how this turned out. It took me like 30 minutes to create this entire layout. And a lot of that was me going back and forth with, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Answering a bunch of text messages because there's all sorts of crazy things going on around here. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this simple, pretty quick layout, and I hope you'll get your stamps out and try something new today. And then I also hope that you'll go down below in the description box and check out the playlist, hop along. Let me know if you got any comments. I'd love to hear from you. I hope that you have a great day and happy scrapping.